I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, March the 30th, brought to you in part by Bromagin Commodities. That's Candy Sullivan there in Kentucky. She's got an office in the Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington there, the flagship location. Works from home a lot near Paris, Kentucky, but she's also got a herd of Charolais purebreds there that she raises. But during trading hours, I tell you what, she's on top of the market, and you guys get a hold of her and you can talk to her. I tell you what, she used to buy cattle, been in the business a long time, and she understands what your needs are. If you want to take advantage of some of these handsome prices, way out front here for fall feeder cattle are all over 160 now. If you want to grab a hold of one of them, you can take a hedge and basically guarantee your price, yourself that price, because if the market does go down, you'll gain it'll offset. If you're doing a hedge there, you'll gain it back on the futures if you're going to lose it in the cash market. But she can help you do that, whatever you want to do. Maybe you want to speculate a little, maybe you want to lock in some corn prices, whatever you want to do. Get a hold of Candy there at BromaginCommodities.com. And remember, anytime you fool with commodities, you can and will lose money. How about your cattle's turn was starting out this week on Monday. All of your ag commodities are higher. Everything's higher since Biden took over, right? If you guys check the gas, the diesel prices lately, I don't know if you've looked at lumber. Everything, anything that you need or want, any input is higher. Inflation is higher. That's what happens when you give free money away, like guys throwing candy from a fire truck at a 4th of July parade. You give money away like that, and everything people have is worth less, so it costs more, right? So everything's getting higher. It was the ag commodities turn. It has been for the last several months. All of your grains have gone up big time. Of course, I talked about the disparity between hogs and cattle. Hogs have been going up like crazy here lately, and there are competing protein. Everything's higher. Cattle have not really gained that much ground significantly since the COVID. So all of your money managers have been kind of eyeballing cattle as an opportunity to make some money on the long side. They keep pushing it. Well, Monday they come out, last week it was consistently higher every day, which was a positive thing, and I mentioned that on our last visit. That really shows more strength than up and down, back and forth. But, all of your months of both fat cattle and feeder cattle were higher every day last week, all your nearbys. And so we come out here Monday, and man, they dogpiled that thing again, and it's cattle's turn to be higher. So your futures market sharply higher. We were working off of an impressive fat cattle market from last week, finally breaking out of that 114. Everything's just going better. We've got lighter numbers of market ready cattle. It's the spring, so we've got grass fever. Guys are excited about buying lightweights and calves and stockers to turn out. Everything's on the upswing, and man, we sure saw it on the board on Monday, and all of your feeder cattle auctions across the circuit everywhere were a bunch higher. And I tell you what, it was a great thing to see. And I've said before, you can't really turn your cash market on a dime, but it was already kind of going higher, and it didn't hurt anybody's feelings a bit to take it quite a bit higher on Monday. So it was already going that direction. I tell you what, the orders come in, and your big high volume sales, some of your small sales across the country, but just everywhere. I tell you what, it was really a good market there. But let's talk about your board. On Monday, April live cattle futures up 87 cents at 120.97. June was up 87 at 122.65. Go on your out fronts there. The farthest ones out all the way to August 2022 were down a nickel, but everything else was up. And then closer up front was up 62 cents. How about feeder cattle? April feeder cattle up $1.95, 147.07. May up 232 on your feeder cattle. Big gains there. 152.20 just in May, guys. It's not that far away. And 152.20, that's based on an 800-pound steer. That's very, very impressive there. But going out on your back months, up 15 cents to up 155. And I tell you what, just a really impressive day on the board, and we hope it kind of holds for a little bit. Your weighted average on last week's direct fed cattle movement out of your 5-area feeding region, 84,600 head. That compares to just 70,400 the previous week and 89,500 head the same week a year ago. And live sales of steers and heifers in the 5-area, 114 to 117. That 114 was just a sprinkling on some weak sisters very early in the week. They just assumed it was going to continue to be 114 because it had been for the previous 6 or 7 weeks. But guys held on. For the most part, your market was 115, a lot of 116, even some 117 late in the week. And so that was a positive with your highest prices at the very tail end of the week. But from 114 to 117, that's $1 to $2 higher. Your weighted average on live steers, 115.59. That's up $1.36 compared to your weighted average from the previous week. Dressed steers and heifers, 180 to 185. Mostly 184 to 185, heavy on the 185. In fact, there wasn't even any heifers below 184 all week last week in your 5-area feeding region. So you take that 180 spread on the bottom side with a grain of salt. But $3 to $5 higher on dressed cattle. Your weighted average on dressed steers, 184.87. That was up 354 compared to your weighted average from the previous week. Nationwide, they sold 99,700 head negotiated. That was up big from the previous week, but still less than 100,000, and that compares to 273,000 sold on a formula basis. But of your nationwide negotiated sales, that 99,700 head, about 35.5% of them, or just over 35,000 head of them, sold for your 2 to 4 week delivery. So that's about typical, maybe a little bit more. Of course, your packers are wanting people to sell their cattle out front with time on them. That's what they're really looking for, because they know they're going into a spot where we've got lighter supplies of market-ready cattle, and they're going to be on the upswing. Their product is going to be worth quite a bit more. They're going to be able to pay more. It's just getting it from them, getting them to share a little bit of that is so tough because they are so greedy. But look at the box beef cutout values just on Monday afternoon. Choice cuts $239.53, up $1.87. Selects up $4.73 just on Monday's session at $232.50. Big gains in your dressed wholesale beef market there. What else is going on? Don't forget, this week, A&B Cattle's 31st annual bull sale is going to be held Thursday, April the 1st, just south of Bassett, Nebraska, there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Tell you what, they've got 140 head of bulls on offer there. A&B outfit, they raise bulls for the most discriminating producers in the place where they make the world's best feeder cattle, right there in the Sandhills of Nebraska. If you guys want to imitate what they do in Nebraska, you want to get some of those big prices like they get out of Bassett and Burwell and Valentine that I'm always talking about, you got to have those kind of cattle. If you're going to get those kind of cattle, you got to have those kind of genetics. A&B Cattle's 31st annual bull sale, Thursday, April the 1st. If you can't be there, get on dvauction.com. You can view and bid right there. How about your feeder cattle market? Your real-time index on DV Auction. Late in the day on Monday at 138.56, gaining $1.04. Big time gain there for one day on a 7-day moving average. How about your big sales? The biggest, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, 9,500 head there. Big good sale there for this time of year when there's really not that many cattle moving. I mean, you might be getting a few cattle off wheat, but most of those have already moved. But people are moving their fall-born calves and some of their backgrounded feeder cattle. But feeder steers, $1 to $3 higher. Some stocker type calf weight yearlings with a little age on them, but still good to turn out, as much as $10 higher. Steer calves, $3 to $7 higher. Feeder heifers, $3 to $8 higher in Oklahoma City. Heifer calves weighing over 5 just steady to $1 higher, but the lightweight heifer calves under 5, $4 to $10 higher. Whale of a sale in Oklahoma City. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 5,700 head. Call the market there on everything, steady to as much as $6 higher. Russell Livestock, Russell, Iowa, 2,900 head there. Compared to the last sale, which was 2 weeks ago, feeder cattle were $4 to $12 higher. Calves were mostly $6 to $12 higher, including 77 head of 710-pound steers that bring $163.75. Wow. I tell you what, there was big quotes all over, and I'm going to give you a kind of a hodgepodge of quotes all over the circuit there. Talked to Luke McPeak. He's a Feeder Flash gang member from Central Tennessee there, and also the market man at Mid-South Livestock Regional Center there in Unionville, Tennessee. He told me a set of stalker type heifers there, 125 head of them, weighed 467 at $157 there in Unionville, Tennessee. They don't always have big drags like that, but they did on Monday. Of course, those heifers are all weaned and vaccinated and bring $15 to $20 premium to what your spread was on your onesie twosies there. So I think that's what guys in the Southeast need to start doing if they have the ability at all, is they need to keep those cattle local and put them together and make loads out of them. I tell you what, they can really bring something. Also talked to Chuck Bradley, my good friend and world-class auctioneer there. He's out of Montgomery, Alabama. He was telling me about Montgomery's sale there at Montgomery Stockyards. They had a board sale there. Cattle bringing the same price that they're bringing out here close to the feedlots. And carrying some ear on there, but we're starting to get late enough here in the spring that those cattle are going to be on feed when it's really hot longer than they would be when there's any kind of cool snap going to be hitting them, and we're going to start seeing those load lots of put together yearlings out of the Southeast start to bring just as much, sometimes even more, because they'll have a little more condition and they'll be green. And he was telling me on that board sale they had some awfully good prices there, and you might want to check those board sales out at Montgomery Stockyards there in Alabama. How about some other quotes around the circuit? How about Faith Livestock Auction in Faith, South Dakota? 74 head, 595-pound steers at $181. Aberdeen Livestock Sales, Aberdeen, South Dakota. 58 head, 1,017-pound feeder steers, $136. Wow. But the best quote that I saw anywhere, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day, come out of Elgin Livestock Sales. That's Ted Baum and company there. Calvin Hedoff there. He sold a load that weighed right at 800 pounds, bring just almost 150 bucks. But I thought this was the highest quote that I saw. It was 123 head, 879-pound feeder steers, Elgin, Nebraska, $145.75. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.